Yep.
Hello everybody, it's Turtle Day today, May the 23rd, and here we have Peter and Shannon, the founders of Turtle Island, talking to you, and they will introduce to you some very interesting facts about turtles.
Hi everybody, today is, as Hung said, this is World Turtle Day, and from Turtle Island we have 240 species, which in the whole world there's 360. So we have lots of variety and there's lots to choose from of all these different wow facts of a lot of things that people normally think. They think Galapagos tortoise, the giant tortoises, they might think of the desert tortoise or a Mediterranean tortoise, but there's a lot of really kind of funky different things about them. So we're going to share just kind of some of these weird fun facts today on World Turtle Day. So we're going to start with Peter Crawshaw, and he's going to talk about the differences between hard-shelled turtles and soft-shelled turtles and why this is important in the conservation of especially the soft-shelled turtle.
All right. Let's have a look. Here we have a chicken turtle from Florida. That's a classic hard-shelled turtle. You see here the bony disc, and it's covered with scutes. So that's a classic turtle. Now you see it's growing, and below under the old scutes there is the fresh one coming up. This is how they grow. This is, by the way, the turtle which doesn't get very old. Turtle have the reputation to become more than 100 years, maybe even 200 years. This one is the short-living version, and the world record is only 21 years. So they mature very early, they reproduce in early years, and then unfortunately they don't have a too long life. This little girl here became mother of 6 hatchlings this year. So that was our first breeding success with the Florida chicken turtle. And when we look now at a soft-shell turtle, so this is a North American spiny soft-shell turtle. It's an adult male. You see it on the very large, long tail. Those have here a bony disc, but here this is a flexible discus. And this, unfortunately, is used for a soup in Asian countries. This is called a callipee. So people cut off that cartilaginous part and use it for turtle soup. Soft-shell turtles have mostly 3 claws. This one is fortunately not very aggressive. Soft-shell turtles can be kind of nasty biters, but he hatched in this house and he already knows me and is a very calm specimen. And very typical is also the proboscis, the snout or the nose like a pig. The plastron is also reduced. You see these callosities here. Those turtles are very skillful and quick swimmers, and they do hide and protect themselves, burying themselves in mud or sand on the bottom of rivers or ponds.
One of the really interesting things too is that people usually think that turtles are slow, the whole famous turtle in the hare story. But actually the fastest movement in all of nature is a turtle, and it's actually a soft-shelled turtle. And you may have seen how the turtle was kind of bringing its head in and out. And it's not this species, but it's also a soft-shell turtle that sits under the sand. So almost all soft-shell turtles, or all soft-shell turtles, are kind of flat like this. And so their big move is that they sit under the substrate, under the sand, or if there's leaves on the bottom. They're very fast swimmers, but the fastest movement in all of the animal kingdom is a turtle where its head shoots straight out and then eats and catches the fish, and it doesn't even bite it, it kind of just inhales the fish. And that's the fastest motion in all of nature. And when we filmed it a few years ago, they had to develop a new camera which had to do 3,000 frames per second. It's faster than the eye can see. When we feed them, you just see an explosion of water and the fish is gone, and that's it. So that's one of the similar species. what I'm going to talk about is kind of a weird, amazing factor of evolution with turtles. While Peter is going to move on to our next, he's going to step out of the scene here for a second. We're going to go back to the chicken turtle as my model, my lovely chicken turtle model. She's kind of a funny one because she's got this funny shape. But basically, one of the things that I remember learning when I was much younger, and I was just amazed by this, was that the shell, everybody knows the shell. Nobody can say, God, what is the turtle? Everybody sees this and they know this is a turtle from this shell. What the shell actually is that it's their ribs. So we have these ribs here, and in between our ribs there are little gaps where there's muscles in them. What has happened with the shell is that all of the ribs have gotten wider and wider and become the shell. And inside, so we have our ribs here, and then we have our shoulders are outside of our ribs, and there's a gap where our abdomen is, and then we have our hips. Where the turtle, everything is protected inside this hard shell. So you have there's never been a species where they've seen, oh, well, there's part of a shell and the ribs half in, half out, and then the ribs got farther in or the shoulders got farther in. It's just always been the turtle where their hips are inside. I know, you're such a great model. Where the hips and the shoulders are all inside this amazing protection that they have, that our little chicken turtle here is jazzed to show you.
We have a question from Emily. Is the shape of the shell natural or due to trauma? Do you have any explanation, or science have any explanation?
This is, just a growth abnormality that we see. Sometimes we have seen in where animals are caught. I think everybody's classically seen the turtle that has been stuck in the six-pack container and they've been deformed. But this is sort of like what we see with scoliosis with humans, where sometimes there's just is a natural deformation. As we said, you never know, is something on the outside also going to affect something on the inside, in which you have any problems laying eggs. But she is a very proud mother. Well, we're not sure how proud she is, but she's definitely a mother.
So, and this is an example for the second group of turtles, the sidewinders. And with this turtle, the pelvic girdle here is fixed on the carapace, on the top shell, where it's the cryptodeers, for example with the chicken turtle, it's free moving. And they, when they hide the head, the neck, they just fold it sidewards. They can choose the direction to the left or to the right, but this is an example of a sidewinder. This is a side neck turtle. This is a captive bred giant snake neck turtle from eastern Australia, hatched here in this house.
This is an example of the other version where you have, it's called the crypto deer, where the head, instead of going sideways, it kind of does what we classically think, where their move to go in is that they bring their head all the way in, and their neck is fixed, I'm not exactly sure, I think the 7th cervical vertebrae, but basically their neck on an x-ray goes like this big S, and so ours can't do that, but theirs goes in, and their spine is all along their shell here, and when they need to hide and be safe, they just disappear, just like that, and you don't, I know, where are you? Somebody's tickling my butt.
Yeah.
All right.
We are watching the interesting facts on Turtle Day, May 23rd, and we have Shannon and Peter introducing our models.
Yes, and we have one more model who's, I know, you're going to go back to your home right after the Facebook showing.
Yeah, the sad fact is that 62% of all turtle species are threatened. So this is the most endangered group of vertebrate animals together with apes. This specimen here was confiscated in Hong Kong. That means smuggled from Burma. They occur in Myanmar, Burma, and in the last corner of Bangladesh bordering Myanmar. This one is an especially old specimen, and he got wounded very badly. As you see, he has only 2.5 legs. So this leg here is completely missing. So this is what the zoo in Münster in Germany put this little knob on here, so he can still run around. He's very mobile. And here on the left hind leg, he's missing the foot. But his front legs are intact, as you see. They are very strong. They can escape pretty much out of everywhere. You see, he can just hold on if he wants with one leg. He doesn't want to, but he's strong enough. And this, especially this species, is the Burmese forest turtle, can escape out of almost every single enclosure. It's very old. I would estimate it's 100 years.
100
Interestingly, you
years.
have here some Burmese letters engraved and written on him. He belongs to Zoo Münster and is here on the breeding loan. We have females for him as well. It's one of my favorite turtles. A turtle which survived injuries like this, is a fighter, a survivor, and has a very strong, nice character.
These are one of the funniest species because normally it happens that sometimes a turtle escapes. And when normally turtles escape, you spend all your time on the ground looking under everything, looking in every little corner. But when these guys escape, you have to look up. You have to look around because they will climb. They are the little monkeys of the turtle kingdom. And they will climb onto every shelf, into every nook and cranny, and disappear much higher than you'd ever think. With these amazing claws, they can hike and climb up just about anything.
Yeah, he has enough of us. I bring him back.
I know, he's had enough.
How can you tell a turtle's age?
So when they're babies, when they're really just hatchlings, they have these areola, which is the center part of the scoot. So the scoots are, let's see, here. We grab my amazing chicken turtle. So these areas are called scoots, these squares here. And when they're babies, when they're hatchlings, it's a square in the center that has all these little kind of raised dots on them. And those fall off as they grow pretty quickly in the first few years. Then you have, depending on the species, you might have smooth areas or you might have ridges. And then just like all of us, gravity starts to have its effect. And with the really old turtles, a lot of times these scoot areas will start to sink, like our wrinkles. And so you'll see sometimes, depending on the species, kind of sunken areas with these squares. Sometimes if they're animals, turtles or tortoises that live in the mountains with rocks, they get smooth very quickly. But it's normal that they're more rough when they're younger. And then as they grow, they kind of smooth out. You also have some species which have really big points on the tops of their shells, and that's to protect them from getting eaten from birds and from other predators, which when they're real small, they're a little snack. And so when they have the spikes, they're harder to swallow and can be dangerous to swallow, and so it protects them. And then as they grow and they can't be eaten by birds anymore, then they start to smooth out. And so sometimes you can tell the differences with like that. I know, you're done with me. Oh, I think Peter has another interesting turtle.
I just found one because Hon is here with us. I thought I'd bring her a Vietnamese.
Wow, that's a big head turtle.
Yes, that's a lady. A lady which ate a little bit too much. She seems to be a little chubby here. So she has some reserves, let's call it that
You
way.
can see that she's a little upset about being told that she's fat.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have a very well protected heads. They occur in fast flowing rivers with rocks. So they have a very bony skull. She's not very thrilled about that I caught her out. I just wanted to check on her because it's time to lay eggs, and you can palpate eggs when you feel into behind their legs, but she doesn't want me to.
Into what we call the inguinal area, which is kind of your
Inguinal
upper
area.
thigh as
So
it reaches your hips.
I do this very carefully, but I think she's only chubby without eggs right now.
Chubby without eggs.
But this is a species which lays very late in the season, so it's still time for her to produce eggs. Maybe I put her one more time to a male. This probably is a little injury from mating because I put her with a male just a week ago.
Turtle Tinder. Yeah, and a lot of times the species that have these smaller shells, so it's not, another species might have a shell that kind of goes up to here and protects all these soft spots. But a lot of times when you have turtles that have all of these unprotected areas, they're more likely to be the turtles that have these strong mouths and strong beaks and are ready to bite you because they have more to protect.
All right, let's put her back in the aquarium.
Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps up our fun, fast facts on turtles for this week. I hope that you come and celebrate with us.
Celebrate.
On Facebook today for our Facebook fundraiser. We really appreciate all the support you can give. It helps us protect these wonderful species, and there's so many more to protect, so many lands to preserve, and we hope that you help us do that. Thank you, and have a wonderful World Turtle Day.